So I'm Jimmy Kang. Grew up in Torrance, LA. Now I'm out in Worcester, Mass. What I do is I'm the CEO of Straight Up Entertainment, and I currently just became the Vice President of Wu-Tang Management. I got started in the club game because I was going to college, with a bunch of friends. We went out to bars and everything with a bunch of us, so they asked me to be a bartender. But I told them, for real, if I was a bartender, I would give everyone drinks for free. So I told them I didn't want to do it. And plus, when I was in college, I wanted to get fucked up. So, I said I didn't want to do it. So they asked me if I wanted to be a promoter. So I asked them, what do I have to do? They're like, just bring all your peoples through. And I did, and I started making a living off that. And that's when I met Crump Snatcher, where he's like, yo, Jimmy, I'm about to go on tour, Common Electric tour. And I was like, from who? Because I'm from LA, so I didn't really know the East Coast boom bap music. It was like the West Coast stuff. And once I found out who Crump was, helped him out, and from then he introduced me to the hip hop culture out here in New England area. And introduced me to the game. And then Ed OG hooked me up with the whole situation with the business part of the game, where he's like, yo, Jimmy, you gotta do it this way and this way. So, but two greats in Boston, they kind of taught me the whole game, where I expanded from there on. It's a crazy thing, right? Growing up in LA, my dad used to always push me. Every sport, baseball, soccer, I was nasty, select 16 in soccer, all-star in baseball. My dad always had an hour with me every time after school, making me run, swing the bats, soccer season, kicking balls at the park, And, once you're like 16, 17, you want to party with everyone, so try to pick another sport that he didn't know. So I said ice hockey as a joke. But he took that shit seriously and made me actually focus on it. After 3 years of playing, I got drafted to the Junior Bruins, played for a couple seasons, and then went to Framingham State and transferred to Worcester State because I started promoting at the club. The crazy thing is this, right? When I came out here playing hockey and everything, my dad was sick. He had a heart problem and everything. And when I first came out here for the Junior Bruins, I finally left, and my dad passed away. So I never went home, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna stay out here. It's the furthest away from LA. Maybe there's a reason for that. For me to become a man of my own after he raised me. So with that in mind, I was a pre-med student, trying to save my dad, and then after he passed away, I don't even go to the hospital really like that, because that shit bugs me out. So from pre-med, after he passed away, I didn't want to do that anymore. So the only thing that I could have went to was psychology and sociology. And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to listen to everyone's problems. So from then on, I just changed to business like my pops, I think I'm doing a pretty good job, learning. I'm still learning every day, don't get it wrong. I'm no close to perfection or perfect. Just trying to make it work every way possible and grinding. After my father passed away and everything, I was a lost kid, just running around trying to find out what I wanted to do. And I just picked business because when you pick business administration, you could expand to whatever type of business you want to do. You just learn the general business part. And from then, once the music game came on, and that was my thing, I worked all day, every day to make it happen. I started Straight Up Entertainment because my friend had an artist that's an R&B artist, and he's like, Jimmy, help me manage this guy. So I started managing him, and we got into this record label. I'm not going to say nothing because I don't like to badmouth anyone. We got into the record label, and they wanted to rip the artist off. So my boy didn't want to do it, so I left with him. So we were actually sitting in my room, and he was crying because that was his dream. And he's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And I said, what do you mean? You have an artist, he's nice. Why don't you put him under your label? And he's like, how do I do that? I'm like, well, I'm gonna teach you how to start a business. Started a business and got everything going. And instead of ripping anyone off and being real to people, I said, let's call it Straight Up. Straight Up Entertainment. The Wu-Tang gig was crazy because they used to come to Worcester and they used to always call me up like, yo, come here, check this out backstage. And I started meeting everyone and started bringing Wu-Tang shows out here and everything. And then the craziest thing is, these guys that I did a show for a long time ago, they're Harlem 6, they came down, I did a show for them like 6 years ago, and I met one of them again, AGR, and he's just like, yo, Jimmy, like, yo, I've been looking for you and everything because now I live in Worcester. So I linked up with him, and then he introduced me to RZA, and they went to Times Square, and right there and then, RZA sent Freedom out here, you know, to check me out, and then Freedom linked me up to Mook, and Mook's the CEO of Wu-Tang Management, and then I told him to come peep me out here how we do it. He loves the movement, and put me in a position as management. After a month of being in their management, they offered me a position, like I said, just recently, last week, as the Vice President of Wu-Tang Management. My work ethic is this: I wake up when I wake up, you know, usually around like 11:30, 12, because I do the club night every day, almost every day, except for Monday and Tuesday. So I'm working Wednesday through Sunday at the nightclub, trying to help everyone out, bringing different DJs and artists through, and trying to let the city eat and entertain the city. So doing that, you know, I wake up and I work on the music game. You know, first and foremost, the music game is my #1 goal and dream in life. This club thing I'm doing right now, I'm good at it, but it just comes naturally, so my second job, as I call it. The thing I like about the Wu is this: like, everyone that works for me, that's been with me for a while, we say honesty, loyalty, and respect. That's all we ask for, you know, for people around me. That's our honor system. To get started, just work hard, you know, every day, don't quit. Persistence, the #1 thing in the game. Every day, not every day of mine is right. Some days it sucks, where it's just like a whack-ass night. But I don't think about that. I try to figure out how to make it better and better. And every day, when you're in the game, you got to figure out what you can do to better yourself and how to make yourself better. Not just yourself, but the whole team. Because I can't do everything myself. I got a strong-ass team. Everyone does everything, which is so dope. It makes it easier for me to do everything. Because back in the days, I used to have to do everything. It used to drive me crazy. But now I have set people doing everything for me, where everything works out. The #1 thing for the rookie, like I said, is persistence, because you're gonna fail a lot. But you know what? Networking is the #1 thing in this entertainment business. And your name. Because if you mess up in this business, forget about it. The whole entertainment knows. You know, the entertainment industry is small at the top. And once your name's garbage, no one's gonna mess with you. So while you network right, network with the right people, and whatever you promise, do it.
And all my clips dry empty, then my flow artillery. Supply hella rock, and my name ain't Tiffany. Watch by the cops, so I'm smooth on delivery. Watch by the cops, if I'm dead, they remember me. Yeah, nigga, if I'm dead, they remember me. They probably bury my ass in the Forest Hill Cemetery. And I'm 100% sure I'm the nicest you ever meet. You susceptible to defeat. I get nice on every beat. Auditorium in the streets. Lyrical beef is gimmicks. I ain't with it. OTO about business. 15 for a show, 800 for 16. Fetish for charging. You 4 for 80, 450. Not talking raw, talking the raw is green with a high potency of THC. Follow me.
The Wu is the way. Wu-Tang, that's the slang of it. And for the hip-hop world, it's Wu-Tang time.
Wu-Tang is a sword style. We utilize our tongues against guns.
Hey yo, John Mook Gibbons, the founder of Wu-Tang Management, the man who brought you into the Wu-Tang. Return to the 36 Chambers, Liquid Sword, only built for Cuban Link, Wu-Tang Forever, Tikal, Iron Man, Golden Arms Redemption, is looking for the next 9 generals in Wu-Tang. If you believe that you possess witty, unpredictable talent and natural game, then stand up, man up, clan up, and let your sword be sharp.
Let me tell you something, dog. I don't want you to sound like me on no album. You know what I'm saying? Be original.
Ain't no principles no more dignities behind real ish.
That's what we doing. Striving for perfection. Better have your word out.
Wu-Tang is coming through your neighborhood pretty soon. And every avenue, terrorize you, put the chop off head.
The saga continues. Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang.
Log on now to www.wucompetition.com to register for the next 9 Generals in Wu-Tang competitive competition, coming to Boston, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, and Los Angeles.